What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk. On Mother's Day, I was sent an article that came out on CNN called "Let Us Now Praise Single Moms," written by a man by the name of David G. Allen. I was also alerted that the brother Jason Black from the Business broadcast also weighed in. I have not heard his rendition of this article, but I'll put the link in the description. You can go ahead and check out what the brother had to say. Mr. David G. Allen, the author of this article, discussed for the majority of his years at Catholic school, he lived in poverty with his mother. He got made fun of because he was the poorest kid in the school. The mother had a terrible car. They didn't have any brand name clothes. Kids made fun of him for not having a dad. And then he got into a lot of fights because of that. And also the mother was also health conscious, artistically inclined, things like that. All right. So he was embarrassed by his whole experience. However, he makes the argument to support single moms that a 2017 study, he doesn't talk about which study it is, that there is supporting the evidence that these kids have no impact on their general life satisfaction in comparisons to two-parent homes, which is interesting because there's no study, a 2017 study from where? I mean, he doesn't say which one it is. At first, he talks about the 2018 Pew Research analysis, which approves his position. He says a study which is not there. He says what mattered most in terms of thriving was the quality and strength of the relationship between children and parents, right? Now, I want to talk about this, all right, if I can. If you've ever dated somebody, for the most part, from a single parent home in comparison to somebody that has a two-parent home, or the amount of femininity, on average, I know these things can be different, in a person that comes from a two-parent home, or masculinity that comes from a two-parent home. Ask women. Most women in the black community are complaining about black men coming from single-parent houses. These men tend to be more emotional. They don't understand their role as men. Black men are saying the same thing about black women, and I'm saying this because this is a black show, that they don't understand their role. They have no real evidence of family, so they don't understand how it works. That's the problem. So now you're seeing black men and black women talking about, I want to go to these other races of people. And when you say that, you mean, I want to go to these other races of people who typically are married, so I have some family structure. When you hear guys talk about going to the DR in Colombia, what are the first thing they're talking about? That these people respect what? Family, okay? Now, here's one of the things he wants to talk about learning as a kid. What he loves about his mom. Even as a kid, I thought of her as a role model of resilience and resourcefulness. She imparted integrity, a love in arts, and a sense of occasion for the things I loved, okay? Before the age of 10, I was exposed to classical music, classic film, boxing, and yoga. These things, right? Nothing about the financial and logistic stress of our years kept her from raising a responsible, decent, curious, creative, and accomplished son. What does that have to do with anything? Okay? My mom did a lot for me when my dad left, or they got divorced, or he was forced to leave, rather. She is resilient and resourceful, but to be a man like I needed to be, my father was gone in key years. That killer instinct I needed to have to be a young man, because your mother coddles you, typically. That's why we have so many soft black men in Black America, okay? We have so many soft black men in Black America today, simply because they don't get out there and be rambunctious like boys are supposed to do. Boys are supposed to be rambunctious, okay? Get out there and try. That's the situation, all right? When you are raised by your mom is trying to protect you. And so what happens is you're not the man you need to be when you get a family, a mom, or on average. That's why the most productive men come from two-parent homes in America. They know how to do things. They don't make excuses for themselves. They know how to be masculine. They know how to lead. See, my dad, I had enough experience, but my granddad was the chip off the old block. You need that man to help you get after it, right? Get after it. You're a man, you need to do X, Y, and Z, but your mom will never make you that sort of man. You might be a good man, a good worker, but when it comes to being the kind of man you're fully supposed to be and dominate, you don't get that. That's why you don't see LeBron with the same killer instinct as Jordan or Kobe because they had their fathers in their life. That's why black quarterbacks typically can never be like Tom Brady because the dad was there. Execution is there. Standards are there. There are things that as a man, you need to not make excuses for and produce. And when you live with your mom, I had to get away from my family, literally, all right, to make things happen for myself. To step out there and understand how cruel the world really is for men and to step up to that challenge. When you have that character building, it's there. He says, let us now praise single moms. All of them, the weird ones, the struggling ones, the driven ones who chose to parent alone, the widows who didn't, the brave ones who divorced for the well-being of their kids and themselves. They're raising 19 million children right now. They need all the support they can get. How do they, David G. Allen, compare in success to two-parent homes? I get that you have some good single moms out there. I'm not begrudging you on that point. The point needs to be, sir, in comparisons to, because the thing about it is this, if we're going to support, single moms to love you're talking about, the standard needs to be better than what is traditionally observed in almost every leading country. Or let's look at the country that we're getting, that the United States is very threatened by and dominating: China, Japan, some of these Asian countries, Saudi Arabia, Middle Eastern Asian countries. So now, how are these young people in comparison to the productivity and the stability of these other countries in the world? How do they, if we're gonna praise it, it has to beat what we're seeing in two-parent homes. If we cannot observe that, what you're doing is you're encouraging something that is actually not the same as the model that we have built the country on. And that's what people want to do. People argue emotions in this, right? In the black community, we have observed how we used to be as a group of people, even in the 50s and 60s, where you didn't even need to lock your door, I've heard in certain communities, to what we have seen now in Black America, to a large part, extreme violence, the ultimate disrespect of people. This is not everybody, but you've seen it more and more in each generation. And what you have seen is that these people have no values for themselves. This is what we see. This is not what I'm hearing. This is what we know. We all know that this is true. And we are a different group than what we were in the past. We don't create the people that solve our problems. We don't have men that solve our problems. We have emotionally minded men. We have men who lack the ability to build simply because we haven't seen it. And you're asking me that this other method you're talking about needs to be praised. So are we praising what is making us as a community perform worse? Where you even have women complaining about this. Women will say, I don't want no mama's boy. What are they talking about? Mama's boys are men who are raised primarily by women. Women want strong men, and then they complain about it once there are no strong men because they're interacting with these guys who want to go 50-50 now. They don't want to build anything for women. That's what I'm talking about. That's the issue. Now you're upset. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. Producer for all you, subscribe to the bell. We're out.